I turn my chair a little bit in, would that be okay? But I don't know how much closer. My name is Tristan Lacroix, and I'm your host for the interview. And our special guest with us is Ben Bunker. And Ben is from Global BrightLight. And Ben, I'm going to let you take it away and tell us what you're all about, starting with Global.
Sure. So the Global BrightLight Foundation provides access to affordable and practical solar energy solutions in developing countries. And so the way we do that is we bring a product to a community. We work closely with that community to identify their needs. And what we're trying to solve is a global energy crisis called energy poverty. And so energy poverty affects over 1 billion people around the world. And those people don't have access to electricity right now. Our organization has put out over 70,000 solar lamps around the world, and they've impacted the lives of over 330,000 people. And so what we like to say is that a little bit of power makes a world of difference, and we think that with small solar lanterns and solar home systems, we can totally revolutionize people's lives. And so our mission, as I said before, is to provide both affordable and practical solar energy solutions. So I think for a long time, people have been coming in to developing countries with solutions that weren't necessarily appropriate given the circumstances. Maybe the panels were too big, there was no thought about sort of the long-term maintenance or upkeep of the systems, and in the end of the day, it sort of didn't result in a long-term sustainable change.
So, how did you get involved with Oculus and or Facebook with VR tech, and what did that look like, or what are you doing?
Yeah. So our involvement in VR actually began during a happy hour at the co-working space we were at. Very similar to the one we're in right now.
Awesome.
And we were sort of discussing how philanthropy, which is obviously the field that we're involved in, can intersect with technology to create change. And it all got back to this idea that very successful philanthropic organizations and charities are the ones that tell the most compelling, riveting stories. So once that conversation started, everyone was sort of talking, and one guy pulled me aside and said, hey, I just bought a new Samsung Gear 360 camera and a drone. Do you want to play around with it? So we did. And then a couple months later, him and his business partner from a company called Lightning Fruit came down to Guatemala with us and shot a series of virtual reality experiences that we have up on a couple different platforms right now. And that then led us to apply for a program that Facebook and Oculus are running called 360 for Good.
Got it.
So it was all very serendipitous. Once we got involved, we definitely realized the power of VR for storytelling. And yeah,
Please share.
I mean, that's really where all of it started. So I guess kind of getting into that point a little bit more, we see VR as an opportunity to really tell more than just a story, to give someone an experience. So when I talk about a VR project we've worked on or a VR film, I really like to use the word experience, because anyone who's done VR really knows what that's like.
Yes.
Exactly. And so
because it is an immersive experience. You feel like you are almost in sensory overload in a good way.
Right.
It's so hard to put in words if you have not tried it yourself.
Exactly.
Because it's just so different from other mediums of filmmaking, storytelling, even descriptions.
Yeah, and I think Chris Milk from Here Be Dragons put it well when he said it's an empathy machine.
Complete.
Right? And so he goes through this history of film and photography and storytelling all the way back to the beginning of sort of human civilization. And he makes a great point that in all of those mediums, we've always relied on people to use their imagination and not necessarily use their emotion. And so when we put someone in VR, what we're doing is we're allowing them to emotionally feel the experience that we're trying to give them. And so like we were just talking about this scenario where the power goes out, right?
Right.
You can relate to that because you've had the power go out.
Yep.
But to feel it in the context in which we're working is a totally different thing.
Unless you've actually been in a situation like
Unless you've been in a situation,
Right.
For us, as I said, it's really about amazing storytelling. And so we try and tell stories in a variety of different ways, whether it's through a newsletter, through print, through photographs, through video, and then of course through VR. We found VR to be a particularly powerful medium and something that people are very excited about as well because of its novelty. And I think one of the things we really learned is that there are no best practices yet.
I just spoke about this.
Did you really?
Yes, this morning.
Okay, excellent.
I'm starting to repeat it now more and more with,
Good.
we'll say higher ups, the ones with the budgets.
Perfect.
And that's, yeah. There's no rule book. There's no best practices right now.
Right, it's sort of a series of better practices.
Now, what would a typical user story or storyline to be more filmmaker entail, or how did it work for you?
Sure. So I won't say I'm a filmmaker. I like to think I tell pretty good stories. So for us, it was all about highlighting individuals and communities and the impact that they were able to have with these tools, as we like to call them, rather than sort of us as facilitators to that. Because we really see ourselves as facilitators, but we want to tell stories about the people that these tools are impacting.
What were you thinking when you're going from sustainability and, for lack of a better word, humanitarian work, merging with the latest and greatest tech toys and technology to really market and drive home this empathetic message? What was going through your mind?
I think just sort of excitement and being involved in a new technology. Very rarely does something along these lines come out and sort of get some mass adoption. So being there at kind of the cusp of a new technology and using it for good and to benefit others, I think is really exciting. Because often I think that might get lost when new technologies come out. We kind of forget the human aspect of it.
Right.
But to use a technology to drive forward sort of a human-centered goal is something that really excites me.
I couldn't agree more. I'm totally there with you. Ben, I know you have to go, and thanks for coming up here today from DC. Just open-ended, is there anything you wanted to share with our viewers about you, about your foundation, about the technology? Any last parting words?
Yeah, sure. So we are always looking for supporters, folks to follow us on Facebook, go to our website, sign up for our newsletter, and really just spread the word about this issue.
You'll be on our blog post today.
Excellent, excellent. And also to experience the VR pieces that we have up right now.
Okay.
The Oculus project with Facebook will be up sometime in late January, early February, but we do have 3 videos up right now. You don't need a headset to view them. You can just view them on YouTube or Video or one of the other platforms. But we really encourage people to experience what it's like to not have access to electricity.
Right. Awesome. Thank you, Ben.
Excellent.
That's all I got. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Awesome. Thanks, Josie.
Thank you.